Nathan Carter, a 34-year-old senior analyst at Winston & Myers Financial, had spent nearly a decade building his career from the ground up. Standing at 6 feet with a lean frame, he carried himself with quiet confidence, his sharp brown eyes always scanning for details others overlooked. His short-cropped black hair was always neatly styled, and his attire, a crisp navy suit with a matching tie, reflected his meticulous nature. Nathan wasn't just another employee. He was known for his strategic thinking, problem-solving skills, and ability to navigate complex financial trends with ease. Colleagues often sought his advice, admiring his patience and clarity in breaking down intricate economic models. Despite his outward composure, Nathan harbored a deep-seated hunger for success, a drive fueled by the sacrifices his mother had made to put him through college. His ambition wasn't rooted in greed, but in a determination to break barriers. Growing up in a modest neighborhood, he had seen firsthand the struggles of financial instability, and he vowed to change not just his life, but to serve as a mentor for others. A recent company-wide announcement had reignited his passion. The firm was opening a new director of finance position, and Nathan was the top contender. He had spent years proving his worth, often working late into the night, perfecting reports, and spearheading initiatives that had saved the company millions. By all logical accounts, this promotion was his. But beneath his steady exterior, a flicker of doubt always lingered. Would his hard work truly be recognized, or would unseen forces hold him back? Winston & Myers Financial was a powerhouse in the corporate finance sector, known for its high-stakes deals and aggressive expansion strategies. Located in the heart of downtown Chicago, the company's sleek glass building stood as a testament to its prestige. The towering skyscraper reflected the city's skyline, and within its walls, ambition thrived. The office was a blend of order and chaos, rows of employees typing furiously at their desks, conference rooms buzzing with intense discussions, and executives walking briskly, their schedules packed with back-to-back meetings. The air smelled of fresh coffee and printer ink, and the hum of voices layered over the clicking of keyboards created an ever-present background noise. Nathan's department, situated on the 18th floor, was a high-pressure environment where only the most driven employees thrived. His team consisted of analysts, strategists, and financial planners, all working under the leadership of John Hamilton, the vice president of finance. John was known for his sharp mind and even sharper tongue, a man who demanded perfection and rarely gave praise. Nathan had built strong relationships with his colleagues, especially with Erica, a fellow senior analyst who had joined the firm around the same time as him. They often exchanged insights, covering for each other when needed, and pushing one another to excel. While the work was demanding, Nathan thrived under pressure. Yet, there were unspoken hierarchies. Promotions at Winston & Myers weren't just about performance. They were about perception, office politics, and the subtle biases that crept into decision-making. Nathan knew he had the credentials and the track record, but he also knew that being the best wasn't always enough. Nathan's mornings started before the sun had fully risen. He arrived at the office by 7:30 a.m., a full hour before most of his colleagues, with a black coffee in one hand and his tablet in the other. His first task was always the same: review market trends, analyze fluctuations, and prepare a summary for the finance team's morning briefing. By 9 a.m., the day's first meeting commenced. Nathan sat at the long, polished conference table, attentively listening as team members presented their reports. When it was his turn, he spoke with confidence, breaking down financial risks and opportunities with precision. His insights were often met with nods of approval, though John Hamilton rarely offered direct praise. The rest of his day was spent buried in spreadsheets, reviewing investment portfolios, and drafting financial strategies. He worked with different departments, ensuring projections aligned with the company's aggressive growth targets. Lunch was often a rushed affair, a protein bar at his desk or a quick bite with Erica at the cafe across the street. Afternoons brought more meetings, some with clients, others with upper management. Nathan handled them all with professionalism, though he often sensed an invisible barrier between himself and the executive team. He noticed how casual their conversations were with others: golf games, weekend plans, shared jokes. But with him, the discussions remained strictly business. By the time 7 p.m. rolled around, the office was nearly empty, But Nathan remained at his desk, fine-tuning reports and preparing for the next day. He told himself that the late nights were temporary, that they would pay off when he secured the promotion. His work ethic was undeniable, his achievements tangible. The upcoming announcement for the Director of Finance position felt like a formality, until small, unsettling signs began appearing. A week before the promotion decision was to be announced, Nathan noticed a shift. Meetings he was usually included in were now held behind closed doors. Conversations around the office hushed when he walked by. Erica, usually cheerful, seemed hesitant when he asked if she had heard any updates. "Just be prepared for anything," she had said softly, offering a sympathetic smile before excusing herself. Then there was John Hamilton. While their interactions had always been professional, Nathan now sensed something different, an avoidance, a stiffness. When he inquired about the promotion timeline, John's response was unusually vague. "We're still finalizing things," he said, eyes darting to his computer screen. Nathan felt a pit in his stomach, but he pushed it aside. He had done everything right. He had earned this. But as the days passed, that nagging doubt grew stronger. Had the decision already been made? And if so, why did it feel like he was the last to know? The long-anticipated day arrived. The company was set to announce its new Director of Finance during a formal meeting in the executive conference room. Nathan, dressed in his sharpest charcoal gray suit, took his seat near the front, heart pounding with anticipation. This was the moment he had worked tirelessly for. John Hamilton stood at the head of the room, adjusting his tie as he cleared his throat. The atmosphere was thick with tension. Nathan stole a glance at Erica, who avoided his eyes. Something wasn't right. After careful consideration, John began. "We have chosen someone who exemplifies the leadership, strategic vision, and dedication necessary for this role." Nathan's fingers curled into his palm, bracing himself for his name. "I'm pleased to announce that Michael Dorsey will be our new Director of Finance." The words hit Nathan like a punch to the gut. His stomach churned as scattered applause filled the room. Michael Dorsey. The name echoed in his head. Michael had joined the company just 2 years ago. While competent, he lacked the experience, the tenure, and the proven track record that Nathan had built over nearly a decade. Yet, there he stood, shaking hands with John, grinning as if he had truly earned this. Nathan barely registered the rest of the meeting. His ears buzzed, his mind racing. Why? What had happened? Had he done something wrong? Had he misread the entire situation? The applause faded into muffled voices as colleagues whispered among themselves. Nathan forced himself to keep his expression neutral, but he felt like the ground had been ripped out from beneath him. Nathan barely remembered walking back to his desk. His hands were clenched so tightly that his nails dug into his palms. He stared blankly at his computer screen, his mind replaying the announcement over and over. This wasn't just a disappointment, it was a betrayal. A knock on his cubicle wall made him look up. Erica stood there, her face filled with sympathy. "I'm sorry, Nathan," she murmured. I thought they would choose you." Nathan exhaled sharply, shaking his head. "I don't understand. My numbers, my performance. I led the biggest client acquisitions last year." "I know," Erica said softly. "But I heard something." Nathan's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" She hesitated, glancing around to ensure no one was listening. "I don't have proof, but John never really considered you." His chest tightened. "Why?" Erica looked uncomfortable. "You're good, Nathan. Too good. John thinks you're not the right fit for the executive team." Nathan's jaw clenched. The words were subtle, but the implication was clear. Not the right fit. Nathan knew what that meant. The days following the announcement felt surreal. Nathan still came in early, still did his work flawlessly, but everything felt different. He was a ghost in his own office, walking through the motions while a storm raged inside him. People avoided talking about the promotion around him, offering awkward nods or quick, forced smiles. Michael, now his new boss, barely acknowledged him. The meetings that Nathan once led were now Michael's to run, and suddenly, Nathan found himself overlooked. Emails he once received firsthand now went to someone else. Decisions that previously required his input were made without him. He was being phased out, and he knew it. For the first time in his career, Nathan questioned whether all his hard work had meant anything at all. The shift in workplace dynamics was immediate and brutal. Nathan had spent years building his influence in the company, but overnight, it seemed to vanish. Michael Dorsey wasted no time asserting his authority. The first change was the reassignment of major projects. Two of Nathan's biggest accounts, clients he had cultivated for years, were handed off to other team members. The reasoning? Michael wants to streamline responsibilities, John Hamilton had said with a patronizing smile. Nathan sat in that meeting, boiling with frustration. This wasn't about efficiency. It was about pushing him out. Days turned into weeks, and the office environment became unbearable. Michael avoided Nathan when possible and undermined him when he couldn't. Meetings that used to be Nathan's domain now barely required his presence. His expertise was ignored, his suggestions brushed aside. The final straw came when Nathan walked into a finance strategy meeting and saw that his name had been removed from the agenda entirely. "Excuse me," he said, voice steady but sharp. "Why wasn't I informed of this meeting?" Michael barely looked up from his notes. "Oh, I thought you knew. We're adjusting responsibilities to better align with our goals." Nathan clenched his jaw. "I've been running these reports for years." Michael smiled, smug, dismissive. "We're taking things in a different direction now." Nathan felt a burning in his chest, the kind that came from being disrespected, dismissed, and undervalued. He had given everything to this company, and now they were erasing him. But why? Something didn't add up. Nathan wasn't the only one who noticed the shift. At lunch, Erica slid into the seat across from him, her expression tight with concern. "You need to do something," she said in a hushed voice. Nathan sighed. "Like what?" "I've tried talking to John. He gives me corporate nonsense. Michael barely acknowledges me. What am I supposed to do?" Erica hesitated before lowering her voice. "I told you something was off, remember? I started looking into it. And I found something." Nathan frowned. "What?" She glanced around before pulling out her phone. "I have a friend in HR. I asked her to check if there were any formal reasons why you were overlooked." Nathan's stomach tightened. "And?" She said she couldn't find anything. No complaints. No negative reports. Nothing. Erica's eyes were sharp. But then she found something weird. Nathan leaned in. "What do you mean?" She found an email chain, one that was supposed to be deleted. Nathan's breath caught. "From who?" "John Hamilton," Erica said. "And it's about you." Nathan felt the world tilt beneath him. An email? A deleted email? His mind raced. There were only a handful of explanations, and none of them were good. "I need to see it," he said, his voice low and firm. Erica hesitated. "I don't have it yet. My friend said she's trying to retrieve it, but if she gets caught, she could lose her job." Nathan exhaled sharply, running a hand over his face. His frustration had now turned into something sharper, determination. For the first time in weeks, he felt a sense of purpose again. If John had actively worked against him, he needed to know why. He spent that night replaying every interaction he'd had with John over the years. The signs had been there, but he had ignored them. The microaggressions, the subtle ways John had doubted his ideas in meetings, the way he had always been held to a higher standard than his white colleagues. Had this been happening all along? Nathan's chest tightened with anger. He had spent years believing that hard work, dedication, and results would speak for themselves. That talent would be enough. But if this email proved what he feared, then none of it had ever mattered. Days passed, each one heavier than the last. Nathan was drowning in frustration, but he had to be patient. Erica's contact in HR was working on recovering the email, but time was running out. One evening, just as Nathan was about to pack up for the day, Erica texted him, "Check your email. Now." Nathan's pulse pounded as he logged in. A single email sat in his inbox, forwarded from an anonymous source. His hands trembled as he opened it, and as he read the words on the screen, his breath caught in his throat. The truth was worse than he had imagined. Nathan's eyes moved over the email, his pulse hammering. The subject line alone made his stomach drop. Concerns about Nathan Cole. The email thread was between John Hamilton and Michael Dorsey, with a few high-level executives CC'd. Nathan's throat tightened as he read. "John, I understand Nathan has the best performance numbers, but I have concerns about how he'll fit into the executive team." Michael agreed. "We're aiming for a leadership team that aligns with our company's image. Pushing him forward might not be the best look for our brand." "John, exactly. Plus, he's been getting too comfortable. He's good, but we need to be strategic. Maybe a lateral shift would be better." "Michael, I'll take care of it. Let's move forward with another candidate. Keep this between us." Nathan sat frozen, disbelief washing over him like ice water. There it was. Plain as day. They hadn't denied him because of his work. They hadn't chosen someone else because of better qualifications. They had denied him because they didn't think he fit their image. Because he was a black man. A wave of emotions crashed into him. Anger, betrayal, humiliation. He had dedicated years of his life to this company. Given them late nights, sacrificed personal time, done everything by the book. And it hadn't mattered. Nathan clenched his fists, his mind racing. He wanted to storm into John's office, shove the email in his face, demand answers. But a confrontation wouldn't change anything. He needed to be smart. Taking a deep breath, he forwarded the email to his personal account, then picked up his phone. Nathan, we need to meet. Now. Erica, I saw it. I'm already on my way. They met in a quiet corner of a coffee shop, away from prying eyes. Erica's face was tight with fury. They just straight up admitted it, she said, tapping her phone. They knew you were the best, and they still didn't promote you. Nathan exhaled, running a hand over his face. I can't just let this go. You shouldn't, Erica said firmly. But you need to think about your next move. This isn't just about you anymore. Nathan frowned. What do you mean? Erica leaned in. If they did this to you, how many others have they done it to? How many promotions have they blocked? How many careers have they sabotaged? Nathan felt a fire ignite inside him. She was right. This wasn't just personal. This was systemic. Nathan felt like the ground beneath him had shifted. For years, he had believed that hard work would be enough. That talent, effort, and results would push him forward. But now he saw the truth. The rules had never been the same for him. He had been playing a rigged game, one where the finish line was constantly moving. Rage burned in his chest, but beneath it was something else. Clarity. He thought about the younger employees, the ones looking up to him, believing that success was just a matter of working harder. He thought about his father, who had always told him he'd have to be twice as good to get half as much. He thought about himself, about how much he had let slide, how many times he had ignored the signs. No more. Nathan wasn't going to let this go. He was going to fight, not just for himself, for everyone who had ever been told they weren't the right fit, for everyone who had been passed over, dismissed, and pushed aside, for every talented black professional who had been told their presence was a problem. This wasn't just about a promotion anymore. This was about justice. Nathan didn't waste time. The next morning, he walked into the office with a calm, collected demeanor, but inside, he was laser-focused. He had spent the night gathering every piece of data he needed, performance records, project successes, and, most importantly, the incriminating email. He requested a private meeting with HR and the company's legal team. At first, they tried to dismiss him. Nathan, this is a misunderstanding, John Hamilton said with a forced smile. There were many factors in this decision. Nathan slid a printed copy of the email across the table. Silence. HR shifted uncomfortably. The legal representative's eyes widened. Nathan leaned forward. This isn't a misunderstanding. It's discrimination. And if it's happening to me, it's happening to others. So, here's what's going to happen. He laid out his terms. A full internal investigation. Transparency about hiring and promotion practices. Diversity training at all leadership levels. And an offer he couldn't refuse. If you don't take corrective action, I'll take this public, Nathan said, voice steady. And I have a feeling your investors and the press won't like what they see. The message was clear. Change or face the consequences. Within weeks, things started shifting. The company released a statement committing to a full review of its hiring and promotion processes. A diversity task force was formed. Employees who had faced similar issues began speaking up, empowered by Nathan's stand. John Hamilton was quietly removed from his position. And Nathan? He didn't take the promotion. Not because he wasn't qualified, but because he had a bigger purpose now. He had already received offers from other companies, ones that valued his talent. But more importantly, he had realized he wasn't just fighting for himself. So he started something new. With Erica's help, he launched an organization dedicated to helping Black professionals navigate workplace discrimination, providing legal resources and mentorship. His story went viral. Media outlets picked it up, and soon, people across industries were sharing their experiences. Nathan had gone from being a dedicated employee to a leader of change. And this was just the beginning. Sitting in his new office, a space that was truly his, Nathan reflected on everything. For so long, he had believed that success was about fitting in, about proving himself to people who never intended to give him a fair shot. But real success? It wasn't about seeking approval. It was about demanding fairness. He thought about his younger self, the one who would have swallowed this injustice, convinced that if he just worked a little harder, things would change. He thought about the people who had come before him, the ones who had fought for opportunities he had once taken for granted. And he thought about the people who would come after him. Now, they wouldn't have to fight alone. Nathan received an email from an old colleague. "Because of you, I finally spoke up. Thank you." He smiled. This wasn't the journey he had expected, but it was the one he was meant to take. As he stepped out onto the balcony, looking at the city skyline, he felt something he hadn't in a long time. Freedom. Nathan had lost a promotion, but he had gained something far greater. Power.